Hello and welcome to another cast brought to you by StarCastTV. I am Nyoken, and this time I'm going to be casting a Terran versus Zerg. It is going to be Soulkey in the top left, facing off versus Mong in the top right. Our map is Largo, so this is going to be a big macro map. And I really do like the playstyles of both players. Mong, he does not get the results that Soulkey gets in the ASL, but this guy is damn good. And what I like about Mong is he mixes in the mech switches. And I love that. If you watch my stream, you know I'm a big fan of the mech switch. Generally, I don't see him open straight mech, but he does go for the bio into the mech play at around the 11-12 minute mark. So we'll see if that's what he'll go for. I think I remember even in the previous ASL, or the ASL we just had, he ended up trying the mech switch. And meanwhile, one of my favorite Zerg players, it is Soulkey. Not only does this guy have insane macro, he's got really good micro, of course, like all the Zerg players have, but he's also got every single build in the repertoire. He's really sneaky. Can't just rely on him going mutas every game. He could definitely mix in a lurker bust. Could definitely mix in 3 hatch. We'll see what he wants to go for this time around. So far, it is not going to be an early pool. It is just going to be the normal 12 hatch from him. And look at this move. Mong must have a read, and he's correct this time around. 14cc versus hatch first. This is the dream opener. But where is this drone going to go? It looks like it may actually go bottom right. I can't believe he is actually cross-scouting. And that means that this 14cc, which could have been punished by a single drone harassing it, I don't think he's going to really be able to do much damage anymore. So already this is a great opener for Mong. Now this SCV, well, he's just gonna... Is he cross-scouting also? Is he gonna cross-scout in Terran versus Zerg? Really does look like it. Now a subtle thing that I do like that Mong has done is he did not cut SCVs. Like after this command center went down, you know, he didn't cut and build a Rax ASAP. If you build 14cc and they pull first, you're dead anyways, so you might as well just go for the Hail Mary. Try and get as greedy as possible. And we do have, surprisingly, a 3 hatch opener from Soulkey here. I almost called him Need Money. That's one of his AKs. I really love that name. The drone comes in here and he sees that, dude, you got away with command center first. I am not happy about that. But I guess the good thing for Soulkey so far is at least this SCV is going to find him last. And he does go big econ into the 14cc. So we'll see how he'll be using that additional larva with the 3rd hatch. We do have the standard 2 racks follow-up. I think this is pretty normal. Puts a lot of pressure on the 2 hatch play, but we of course know that this is not a 2 hatch opener. So we'll see if he actually transitions this into some kind of weird 5 racks plus 1 timing. SCV is going to come in here and he will see. Well, I think he's going to see. Maybe he won't. Alright, let's turn on only Power Pig's vision here. Okay, he does get up the ramp, so he does confirm the 3rd hatchery, so that's great for him. And that means he instantly cancels this bunker because he knows he doesn't need it. He saw that there were no lings. So I love this. Already up 7 workers. This is fantastic for him. He's pretty much fully saturated at his natural already. I hope he's not undersaturated in his main. And it looks like he is slightly. So hopefully he'll be rallying some back up into his main and really get that econ optimized as much as possible. Back in Soulkey's main, I was looking to see if we had a hydrogen anywhere, but I don't. Oh, there it is. It is right next to the 3rd hatch, so we are going to have lurkers. More lanes coming out. Definitely don't want to let this SCV get in. Oh, okay, he denies it. There's no way it had vision, but he did catch a glimpse of more lings being built, and you can see instantly Mong turns around here, instantly puts down a bunker. This is a fantastic response from him. eBay coming down, Actually, this is quite a quick eBay for seeing that it is 3 hatch. It's not like he was rushing +1 anyways. So, not too sure what this is intending to do. I guess he still wants to hit a somewhat normal +1 timing. We don't see any additional barracks. I'm a little bit surprised to see that. I think he should leave at least 1 fire bat behind, because this is a lot of lings. If there's a run by, I don't see him cleaning this up with just rallied Marines. But he is going to move out with this. Does push some of the lings back, but here comes a counterattack that I was talking about, and this is Marines. He has 1 Marine in the bunker. Oh no, Mong. You saw how many lings were built. That means that this bunker's dead. Oh my gosh, the natural's already been breached. He stems all of these Marines, so they're going to lose a lot of health. Obviously, a medic is out in no man's land, but the Sunkens aren't even close to being done. Is this actually going to just be a game-ending move? In the natural, it looks like it got cleaned up. He still ended up killing a decent amount of workers, but he just ran into the main. But the Ling reinforcement, I think, is going to be too much. And this does get taken down. He at least forced out 3 Sunkens, but I'm not sure if that was a worthwhile trade. We're looking at the saturation at the natural. It still looks pretty good. Still up 8 workers. So I guess it's not as damaging as I was anticipating it to be. The 14cc with the additional SCVs really allowing for a little bit of misstep there. He's not punished too hard. And of course, Zerg always tries to maximize their Ling damage whenever they see any sort of minor opening. And the Lings do kill, what was it, 1 or 2 Marines? Didn't get any other intel really. I guess he didn't see a factory here, so he may be pretty confident that, hey, this guy didn't start his factory at least just yet. And he did see that it was 4 Rex. So everything, I would say, looks kind of normal. And what was a shown Hydra, remember that Hydra that was built up here? He's actually transitioning into a delayed spire play. And he is going to be taking a bottom left base. Now, I don't see a lurker. Okay, there we go. I was waiting to see if there were any Hydras anywhere that he could, morph into lurkers to defend bottom left. But I only see this 1 Hydra. I don't think this is enough to stop an incoming attempted bust at bottom left. He does, I think, catch a glimpse of the hatchery. And you can see that Mong knows that, hey, you only have 1 lurker, potentially. I am not too worried about that, so you can see he's instantly moving out the bottom left. Back in Soulkey's main, the scan sees pretty much nothing. I'm surprised he didn't scan here when he saw that the Hydra den was there. A lot of times Zerg players put their Queen's Nest or Evolution Chamber right next to their den for some reason. So for now, he has no idea that this is actual mutas. And in the main, he is just now starting really his only first couple turrets. Going into the typical starport follow-up. I'm sure we'll see a second starport pretty soon. I heard another scan go off, but didn't actually catch a glimpse. But at least the SCV intercepts the mutas at top middle. So that's nice. He's going to at least see it coming. Should be able to reposition some of his Marines. Now, bottom left, I realize he canceled the hatchery, but he didn't get the drone. So I think this is going to be rebuilt pretty soon. Mutas find an open turret. Actually, I think they could get a decent amount of damage done. But remember, these are delayed mutas. So the Marines already have stem, obviously. They already have range. He even has to worry about +1 already being completed. So nice defense from Mong so far. I really like his position. And there is the second starport. Now, we've seen Valkyrie play really make a resurgence, and I don't see an armory anywhere. So it looks like this is going to be science facility. He is still trying to find the opening. Looks like they may have found a decent spot, but the Marines are doing so much damage. And now he gets into the gypsy spot in the back of the mineral line, but actually doesn't hit any kills. This small army is just moving around the map. Now, he kills the drone, and it came from bottom right direction. So that's a bit weird. He may be thinking that, hey, I killed the only drone out on the map, and he would be incorrect, because there is a second one out on the map, and he is retaking bottom left right now. We do have the science facility completing momentarily, so we're going to be seeing some vessels being popped out pretty soon. We've got +1 armor coming in, second eBay coming in for Mong, so it is not going to be the mech switch. It is just going to be bio play. Probably going to see add-on for BCs in the near future. But, in ASL this season, mass vessels were the go-to style, so maybe not. Firebat stimming across the map. He is going to see Lurker morphing here, so even though he's technically not going to see the hash tree, this is all he really needed to see. Now back in Zerg's main, finally has the evolution chamber, has +1 armor going just now, and Defiler mount. So it is going to be Defiler. It is just going to be a normal opener, and this is a lot of lings, so he may be able to pick off a decent chunk of armor. Yeah, now that he realized that, hey dude, you're moving out with just one group, he's going to try and swallow this up. He picks off 2 Marines, picks off 3, gets the Firebat. Also, he's going to trade about a handful of Zerglings for a decent chunk of Marines. That was a good pick off there from Soulkey. And back in Terran's main, we've got the first 2 vessels coming out. I actually don't think he upgraded Irradiate just yet, so that could be a mistake. Meanwhile, the Defiler mount completes, and Soulkey, he is on top of it instantly. Gets the Consume upgrade, but I would say I still like Mong's position right now. He's got a considerable amount of SCVs. He does need to start thinking about taking a 3rd base, though. I know a lot of times in the past we've been seeing Terran players play this 7-rack style, and you know, it can be hit or miss. Like, you can definitely bust a base because you have an overwhelming amount of units, but I think more and more players are realizing that hey, that's kind of an all-in type-ish move. I really need to fall back on big econ, so hopefully mix in with this army there is an SCV, and there is, so this is going to be a relatively decently timed 3rd base. And now Mong just doing what pretty much every Terran does, which is sit outside of this 3rd base. You're not too concerned with Zerg getting a 3rd base, that's pretty normal. The issue is once they start getting a 4th base, that's when it really gets scary. And it looks like he did actually have a Radiate already done. I guess I missed it, or he upgraded it before building Vessel, which is interesting. So he does get a couple of Radiates off onto these Lurkers. And we do have these Mutas sharking around for some more kills. If we look at Zerg's point of view, he sees an SCV down here, doesn't realize that, hey, there's a base already here just yet, but he now pretty much confirms that. But an SCV being sent down to bottom right, this really does look like it could be a mech switch, because when Terran tries to split the map like this, oftentimes they are switching into mechs, since it's really hard to cover bases this far apart with just bio. Decent Irradiate in the center, gets 2 Mutas, doesn't get any real key units, I would say, though. Mutas at this point pretty much dead supply, other than the times, of course, where you get off a juicy plague onto the vessels and can use a single Muta to knock down, you know, 4, 5, 6 vessels in just a couple volleys. Marine cleans that ling at bottom right, and I would really hope that Soulkey sacks a Muta and tries and figures out what this actually is. Because, like I said, this really does look like this could be a mech switch. And versus a mech switch, you need to have different comp versus. So, compared to bio is what I mean. So, for now, he's still assuming it is bio. He is right. This is going to get cleaned up, and 4th base is going to be coming down pretty soon. Vessels comboed with these Marines trying to harass the natural, and I remember seeing a couple of dropships be built, so we do have just 2 drops, somewhat loaded up, a little bit more than half. He needs to get some medics in there, and looking at the defense for drops, I would say this is kind of skimpy, honestly. I feel like double dropship could get past this group of Mutas, but with 2 more Scourge, maybe not at this point. But Mong, he is going to go for it. And I like how he is moving units here at the same time, drawing the attention away from the drops. We'll see if he can actually get in here. It is going to be not denied. This is a sizable amount of drops, but of units, I mean, in these drops. But there's no medics. Oh my god, no medics. That is definitely a big mistake. The Firebats and the Marines stem in. Vessels at the natural, but a couple of Scourge take down 1 or 2 of them. He does end up clearing all the Lings, all of the Marine, or all of the Mutalists, and he forces a complete drone pull. Unfortunately, he targeted that pool, so he's not going to get as much damage as he wanted. Another drop into the natural. It doesn't look like this is going to do a lot of damage. I wish he had an eraser just like that, but it's a little bit too late. Before the drones transfer, he doesn't really catch many of them at all. Maybe he can get it this time. Okay, there he goes, mowing down these drones. going to start mowing down these drones. Also, okay, Mong, there we go. That's how you follow up a failed, well, not necessarily a failed drop, but a shut down drop. He does end up getting a lot of drone kills, but he did lose a lot of Marines there. But look at the drone count plummet. 55 SCVs to 30. Soulkey, I guess, dealt with the bottom left army quite well, because I don't see anything over there. But Soulkey, I don't think has taken critical damage right now. So he should be able to recover. Remember, he's got this third, he opened with 3 hatch, he's got a macro hatch, and he's got 4 bases, which have 2 more macro hatches. So I'm sure this drone count will shoot up quite quickly. But Mong, he did take bottom right, and he's got decent saturation there. He's got big econ too. Back in his main, we do have the physics lab, so we are going to have some battle cruisers pretty soon. Still just barrack units though. I'm a little bit worried that we don't see any factories with add-ons for tanks. I think bio vessel is a really hard style to play. I really like to see tanks, even if they're just sitting on ledges, just in siege mode. That's really good for helping you to defend versus Ling Defiler pushes. We do have another drop at bottom left, and this guy, he just does not like the medic. We've got another drop at the natural. Again, does not like medics, man. He's content with just playing vanilla style. Marines are going to try and shut down these bases, but really, they didn't get much damage done. Bottom left, I guess, did a little bit more damage. Wow, he actually killed maybe about 8 or 9 drones with this double drop, so that was actually well done. And at the same time, at the 4th base, trying to bust in there, but good solid defense from Soulkey is going to prevent this. But now we can finally see that supplies are starting to run away for Terran. 150 to 105, but every Terran knows if Zerg is not outright dead, there's always the possibility that they could make a comeback with so many macro hatches, with 4 base gas. And critically, I haven't really seen a lot of tech units get taken down. Like, every time we've seen the drops come in, I don't remember seeing lurkers dying. I don't really remember seeing defilers dying. So I think that, honestly, Zerg's okay right now. I think it all comes down to this attack right here. Like, if he gets busted at the 4th base, or if a drop gets in here, which doesn't have any defense, I think that's how Mong seals this game. But if that doesn't happen, I think we've got comeback potential, even though Zerg is down so many workers. And I'm still very worried about Mong not having any factories, not even having more production. There's the armory, but that's going to be for the +1 weapon on the battle cruisers. Finally, we have some more production being put down, but these are barracks at bottom right. Still no factories. The Defiler tries to find a plague, but not going to really find a juicy one just yet. 5th base coming down for Mong. His natural and main are surprisingly, technically not mined out right now. I'm surprised that the natural's not mined out at this point, but he is going to be back on 3 to 4 base mining in just a moment once he gets this 5th base up. Now that is a good play. He hits the majority of the Marines, and this army is going to be denied. There goes those battle cruisers, though. Now, we saw how well Soulkey defended the drops, but I actually don't think that this is going to do much damage. Hopefully there are some hydras, but I don't see them. But there are a decent amount of Scourge. There is 8. I think you need more than 6 now that 2 have been picked off. Okay, these 8 I think can knock down 1 BC. And there's the Dark Swarm to save the drones, and there goes BC number 1. So that's already 400 minerals, 300 gas down the drain. Vessel count is lower and lower also because of the time spent building the BCs and the diligent Scourge play from Soulkey. And we've got a small attack to mid-right. These 6 Lings are going to not get much damage. And Lings are starting to get heavily upgraded. We're at 1-2. Oh, another drop into the main, but again, where are the medics? Like, yes, technically he is getting some drones and Lings, but he's not killing anything really that crucial, I think. Drone count is still very low, surprisingly, at just 40. So maybe these drops are doing more damage than I anticipated. The natural, I guess, got shut down somehow by these drops. Maybe there were a couple of units unloaded there. But the 3rd and 4th are still very well saturated. Bottom, middle. Okay, it looks like this is just a task squad to deny a base there. I thought we may end up trying to take that base, but I don't think Mong's army is that strong right now. We finally have some tanks being pumped out at the natural. Ling, Lurker, this also is not that big of an attack. Vessel should end up cleaning this up. You have to radiate for days, and that is going to get shut down. Attempted attack at the 4th base is going to be denied. 130 to 160 supply, down 24 or 5 drones, and that means that army supply is pretty much dead even at this point. Another good plague there, hits a battle cruiser. Battle cruiser, remember it does it does not have the +1. Okay, it is about to complete, but the +1 means he will be able to shut down the Scourge in one hit. But look at this, Soulkey, I guess, feels like he's stabilized, and he is starting to take mid-left. This Lurkerling attack ends up getting instantly crushed, and the tanks are starting to be pumped out. And I love just the rally tank to the ledge like this. I don't think Soulkey's going to have a really good shot at knocking that down, or knocking down the 5th base, I mean, very easily. We even have another armory. At bottom right, he's starting to get those mech upgrades. Just +1 weapon though, no armor just yet. Vessel count still pretty good, hovering around 7. I would say 7 to 8 is when the vessel count gets really scary. 4 to 6, you know, that's pretty manageable for Zerg. Obviously, if it's less than that, then Zerg pretty much doesn't care. But 7 to 8, that's when you can really start putting down a lot of damage with the irradiates. We do have the first few ultras making the move out onto the center of the map, but again, there's just not a lot of support for this Zerg army. It's 2 ultras, a single defiler. Defiler already died, so it's pretty much just isolated 2 ultras. And we do have another move from Mong to top middle to deny that base. He found mid left. He's going to try and stem through this, but 2 lurkers on the high ground with heavy upgrades, with ultras on the high ground. I don't think this is going to work. We'll see if he can make it work, but the big issue now is that all of his vessels were isolated. He ends up killing every single vessel. 7 of them go down, and that means that Mong is in big trouble now. He has no vessels. Okay, he actually has 3 at his natural. That's good, but he needs to ramp up that production big time, because when you see Zerg now taking a 5th base after dealing so much damage to their mineral line for 20 minutes now, you are not feeling like you're in a good spot. These Lings and Ultras may end up saving this base, but the medics are doing a good job body blocking, buying time, and it does allow the Terran army to actually knock it down. But still, supplies are manageable for Zerg, and that was actually a drone cycle, so he'll be able to instantly retake this. A small counterattack to mid-right, couple Lings, couple Ultras, and okay, that's what I was waiting for. Mong is going to transfer some SCVs to his mineral only. So actually Mong's on 6 base mining right now. Wow, he's got really insane eco. Bottom natural is going to be taken, so he's going to be on 4 or 5 gases. Mid-right does end up getting lifted though, so that's a good shutdown for Zerg. Zerg finds open tanks, so he knocks down 1, 2, maybe he can get a few more. The Dark Swarm comes down with the Ultras. Wow, he's going to have a field day on these tanks. He ends up taking down 2 more. Maybe he can get a 3rd one. And look at this. Soulkey, all of a sudden, even though it doesn't look like he has that much on the map, there's just not a lot of irradiance. There's no map presence for Terran, so it's going to be hard for him to deal with this onslaught. And that means that this mineral only could be potentially breached, and look how many Scourge there are. If he can reset the vessel count again, this is going to be a nightmare scenario for Mong. But it doesn't look like he's able to get on top of the vessels, but these dark clouds that just are in a complete horizontal line across my entire screen almost. There's no way for the Terran to engage here. The mineral only gets shut down. Remember, mid-right is still floated, so we are now almost even in workers, 52 to 49. Actually, Soulkey has more bases mining at this point. He's got all of bottom left, he's got mid left, he's taking top middle, he's taking top left mineral only, he's taking bottom middle. I don't know how the heck he did this, but this was an incredible comeback from Soulkey. Non-stop drops. I really thought Mong had him on the ropes, but we are seeing one of the best comebacks, and with the sending non-stop Dark Swarms and no answer to them, he may actually breach into the main. Oh my god, the factory dies. Imagine if he had something like 7 tanks up here shelling down on top of these ultras. Imagine if those tanks that were here were up here. I think he could have easily held this, but now we've got defilers with Dark Swarm into the main, even though there's only 1 or 2 ultras here. Okay, we've got more lings coming in. I think this is more than enough for Zerg to get through. Maybe not with all these Marines in the back. Oh my gosh, is he going to kill the command center? No, he does deal a lot of damage to it though. The vessel counts has not been whittled down that much, but now with a couple of Scourge coming in, of course, that's going to knock down 2 of them. So now just 4 more lings coming in. Well, maybe not actually. And Mong, he somehow does recover here and stabilize his base. But he is down workers. He is down a lot of workers. And remember, Zerg has so many hatcheries, so many bases now. He's got upwards of 60 drones. He's got massive econ. Mid-right was shut down for so long that the SCVs have to rebuild over there. This mineral only is still floating. Mong is in big time trouble. At least he has a lot of tanks at bottom right. So I would say these 2 bases are pretty safe. But that's not the issue anymore. The issue now is that there's no way Mong can save mid-right and also defend his main. Dark Swarm at bottom right, that base is going to be, or at mid-right, I mean, this base is going to be shut down. I would say luckily for Mong, he ended up killing a couple of the defilers here. So that means that this mineral only for now is going to be up and running. And luckily he is not going to lose his main, at least not just yet. We've got more and more ultras, more and more lings coming in. He's only using half of his army though. He needs to get all of these Marines together. Half of these Marines aren't doing anything. Finally he realizes Stim's in, and these ultras I think will get shut down, but they're going to still trade relatively well. No irradiates at all, no D-matrix at all. What? These ultras get in? They're able to kill the entire Marine army? Oh my gosh, more Scourge coming in, picks off 2 more vessels. Somehow these ultras just didn't die. Ultras at the mineral only, that's gone again. Jeez, these lings and ultras are just immortal, man. I think he's got to hold position with these medics on the ramp. That's his best chance at holding this position. Supplies are heavily in favor of Soulkey now. I don't think there's really any way that Terran can recover at this point. Look at this, he's desperate. He's starting to send all of his tanks from bottom right up to his main. But guess what? Dark Swarm doesn't care about your tanks. So I don't even think these tanks are going to be able to hold. More and more ultras moving in. We're in the main now. We're on top of the production. The lings are going to knock down the science facility. No more BCs. No more vessels. There's multiple Dark Swarms on top of the barracks, so he can start knocking those down. The tanks are sieged up outside of the natural, so at least they're going to prevent reinforcements. But I don't see how he stops all these ultras and lings. Oh, this is brutal, man. This is so brutal. Mong had such big econ. He did such good damage. But like I said, unless you can outright kill the Zerg, Zerg's always in it. The Dark Swarm, it's so powerful. And now, with the main breached, Soulkey's diverting his attention to bottom right. He knows that he's got Terran on the ropes. 2 more isolated tanks. They fall. The Ultras, they just can't die, man. I don't expect them to die into this Marine ball. One of them is going to fall. Maybe. He actually didn't fall just yet. Nope. Filer's going to seal the deal. No answer. Ultras, Lings, Lurkers now. Dark Swarm going to be running into bottom right. There's pretty much no production here. It's just 2 factories, 2 barracks, no starports. All of the defense is at top right now. And there it is. The good game from Mong. And that means that Soulkey, he is going to take our game. I can't believe it, man. I thought for sure with all the drone damage that Mong did, resetting Zerg down to, what, 30 drones multiple times at, what, 20 minutes? Zerg was still struggling at around 40 drones. I thought for sure that this was going to be Mong's game to take. But hey, you got to give credit to Soulkey there. He crushed it, man. He stabilized, started taking all his bases. And for me, the real difference maker were those Scourge hits. Once he eliminated those 7 vessels at mid-left, you knew Terran was in trouble. So well done from Soulkey. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back with another cast in the near future.